What is talent? It is the urge, the necessity to tell a story. That is talent. There is no better explanation, I think, on planet Earth than reducing talent to the simple word of necessity. You feel a desire, strong wish for something to happen in your life. And how can you achieve that? With your talent. Sometimes that talent is small, sometimes it's huge and humongous. It really doesn't matter. It's about fortifying that talent, exploring that talent, and nourishing that talent to the point where it becomes a product that will be appreciated by your audience. And we will show you in today's video how to do it and what talent actually is. So welcome back everybody to the CoachMC Studio. This is the place where we'll help you to shape unique behavior deliveries and where we'll help you to get recognized in the audition room. And if you're here for the first time, you're interested in acting tips, audition tips, or mindset tips on how to make your life a great life and having a great career and fulfilling life, then subscribe to our channel and leave a comment in the comment section down below at the end of this video what you thought of this. And if you like the video, leave a like. As simple as that. And now let's dive right into it and let's see what's cooking. What is talent? I mean, this is the first and foremost question, right? We are living artistic lives. We're presenting ourselves every day in front of a camera, on social media, on those various platforms. We're trying to sell products or services. We're trying to get better at something, right? So what is talent? It's the necessity of telling the story. It's the necessity of pushing forward. It's the urge, the wish, the strong desire of doing something that accomplishes us truthfully, internally, and deeply, and for real. It's something that is authentic, that belongs just to us. It's nothing that was introduced from external points and elements or from external outlets. No, it's something that's deep inside of us and now it wants to blossom. Now it needs to unfold. Now we want to roll with it. So talent sometimes can be also translated into stubbornness or with stubbornness, right? It is the stubbornness that no matter what happens, no matter what beat is right now playing, no matter what the rhythm right there is or the current tells us to do, no, we're just listening to ourselves. We're going down our road, walking down our path, just dancing to our rhythm and just marching to our own beat and to no one else's beat and just believing in our product. And that sometimes is hard. It's not something that is easily accomplished. Of course not. Because guess what? If it would be easy, everybody would be doing it, right? And then it would be just a piece of cake of earning money with our talent, which is not. It is hard to emerge. It is hard to stay focused. It is hard to kind of hustle harder every time we get some backlash or we fall back or sometimes we get disappointments along the way or we just realize that something is not working with our product, with our service, with the way we're trying to communicate our talent, with the way we're trying to tell our story. Then we have to pivot, right? But that doesn't mean that the talent isn't there. Sometimes, like I said, it needs to be explored a little bit more. Sometimes it's obvious right from the start, right from birth. Think about Mozart, right? No big deal. Everybody knew he has a big talent. But sometimes, think about Christoph Waltz. It takes a long, long time for, people recognizing finally, acknowledging finally what huge talent you actually have and then earning all the accolades and winning all the awards necessary to kind of establish yourself on a high plateau. So how do we do that? Getting the right instruments in our system is absolutely vital when we're talking about fortifying our talent because the stubbornness dictates us that no matter what, we put our blinders on and we're gonna follow up on that. So we need some instruments in order to fortify our talent. We need to understand what our talent is in the first place, and then we're gonna, accumulate knowledge, accumulate experience. We're getting mentorship, we're getting tutoring, we're getting people in, we're getting courses, webinars, we're getting the right instruments, the right tools to fortify that talent, to make it ours. We discard what's useless, we get in what's useful, and then out of this esoteric knowledge that we have inside of ourselves, that belief that we have inside of ourselves, in ourselves, then it becomes exoteric. Right now, everybody can perceive it. Like above, so below. Like black, it is white. Like hate, it is love. It's always that duality. It's those clashes of forces. And in the middle, there is this event horizon, and that's you. And you're fighting with all this. So of course, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it will be very fruitful. This challenge, this quest, this journey, this mission of yours, this is yours and yours only. What is the greatest enemy of talent? It is comfort. Because comfort, it numbs our senses, right? It kind of cloaks our desire. It kind of pushes us back into mediocrity, into laziness, into procrastination, into, you know what, let's do it the next day, or let's push this away, or not realizing it. Because sometimes, let's face it, talent is something scary. Because it makes us realize that probably we have lived for a long while on a road where we shouldn't be, right? Or hanging around with people that are actually not healthy for us, or staying in an environment that is toxic, or doing things that actually bore us, but we just do them for, you know, the purpose of staying in the social status quo. Sometimes talent cannot lead us on a lonely path where we kind of have to detach from things that we have cherished so long and enjoyed so far. And sometimes we realize, okay, this was actually poisonous for me. And realizing that you went down the wrong road, or that for a while now you have to stay on your own and you have to be probably lonely for a while because you have to explore yourselves, or, you know, meeting people who will tell you, you know what, you have to exercise, you have to work, you're not good enough, and kind of putting you down, right? And you have to fight against all odds. I mean, that's not easy. And legitimately so, sometimes we are afraid of all these quests, of kind of looking in the mirror and realizing who we really are and what our potential really is. But talent is nothing else than the necessity of creating that level playing field, because we can have so much critical mass inside of ourselves, right? There is so much chaos and emotional upheaval and turmoils inside of ourselves, and we feel we have some power, but we can't really control it, right? We can't really manipulate it. We can't really channel where we can actually use it. It's just there. We feel that something is there, but in order to kind of express it in a way that people can appreciate it and put it into a channel where it can create a service and then a product that will be appreciated by an audience, by customers, and creating revenue for ourselves. In order to do that, we have to create a level playing field. A level playing field means that you have to set up your room. Yeah, you have to make some order. You have to construct something that's called structure, and that structure will help you to fortify your talent throughout time, right? If you have this mountainous region, right, and when you have to go up and down all the time, that will cost you a lot of energy. It will be very fatiguing, and it will wear you out. You won't, you know, reach your point of destination. You have to kind of get rid of everything that stands in between you and your success, so you can travel with your talent and tell your stories with your talent. You know, you have to feel that accountability for yourself. It's not somebody else telling you, oh, you're good at this, or you're great at that, or do this, or come with us. No, it's feeling that you have something which you're good at, and now it's your quest to kind of remove everything that stands in between you and the progress and the evolution and the self-improvement of making that thing that you're good at something extraordinary, something great. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take in any, you know, exterior impulses, elements, disciplines, talents, and instruments. By no means. I mean, this is not what I'm suggesting. Of course, take in what's useful, discard the unnecessary, but in order to evaluate authentically and realistically and genuinely what's really necessary for you and what really will help you to thrive with your talent, you need to be completely clear about what you're trying to achieve and what will help you. And that necessity means to create that level playing field. If everything is mountainous and hillious and you don't really see shit, and everything is cloaking your talent, everything distracting you, and there are so many cords that are draining energy from you, before you don't detach yourself, before you don't sever all those cords, before you don't kind of create that level playing field where we see clear where you're heading to, before you do that, you can't really perceive what's necessary in order to fortify your talent. So you need to do that. And that sometimes it's scary. Think about Professor Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. So think about 99% of all the authors on this planet. What would they do? They would take a typewriter. Back then it was a typewriter, not a computer, right? Or they would take some sheets of paper and an ink pen, write paper. That's crazy stuff. They would, you know, start writing their story. You know, because they feel so entitled that they have this story inside of themselves, right? Oh, no, I'm just writing it down. They will start, right? Just typing or writing their story down. Not so with Professor Tolkien. So what he started to do before he started writing the story is to create the context for the story, for the legendarium, for this incredible lore and this canon that he created in so many years that then impacted the whole world. Basically, the Lord of the Rings at a certain point was selling more copies a year than the Bible. Think about that. But this happened just by writing the story? No. What Professor Tolkien realized that he had to create a level playing field. So before he was writing the story, he first created a new language, the language of the elves. I'm not just talking about a few words. He created a new language, a literal language, a real language for the elves, with grammar, vocabulary, with semantics, etymology, where do these words come from, who said them first, and he created this very complex, incredible universe of languages first. Then he went on to create the maps of Middle-earth, of Valinor, of Numenor, of where this whole thing came from. And then he visualized these two elements. He saw the language and he saw the context, right? So he saw the people speaking the language, and he saw the land where these people would actually row and move and where they would actually be. And then he realized the story that he would need to tell. And that is the talent, the necessity of realizing that sometimes in order to express something that is inside of yourself, you have to create the right context to do that. And that could be even more work than the actual work. Isn't that crazy? But that gave him eternal fame, eternal flame, I would say, right? Because Ilúvatar, the name of the God who created everything inside of the universe of Tolkien, that word itself means eternal flame. Think about that. It's the eternal flame. It's the desire that your fire bundle should never extinguish, should never go out. It should always burn for all eyes to see. I think very telling when we're talking about talent, that there is the soul, the body, and that there is the matter. But the most important thing is the idea, because the idea survives the body, it survives the matter, and it will be eternal. And the idea illuminates, right? It gives the spark to let everybody see where we're at right now. The idea is just a hallmark, a post where you can always fall back onto and realize, this is what this is about. This is what this product can give us potentially. It's the idea that survives. But in order to kind of put the idea forward, you have to create the circumstances to blossom up, to unfold. You have to create that structure where you can place your ideas in order to be visualized, perceived, and cherished, and welcomed and appreciated by everybody. So what is talent? Again, it's the necessity of telling the story. And in order to tell the story, you have to make sure that you have everything you need. Are you getting the idea? Talent is nothing else than realizing what needs to be done. That is talent. It is not that metaphysical, genetic, holy spark that we get. It's not the muse kissing us and then from now on, I can just rock the stage. No, nobody can do that. It's just 0.00001% of all people on this planet who don't need any education, who don't need to solidify and fortify their talents and just can go on stage or just write something down and that will be amazing right from the start. Usually we need training, and that training needs to be absorbed fully and generally and completely by our pores, by our mind, by our body, by our perception. And in order to do that, we have to set up our environment. We have to maybe do also things that we never thought we would do. Maybe sever some bonds with people that are toxic to us. Maybe say goodbye to our beloved ones. Maybe move to another town. Maybe starting to be alone for a while and to realize what you got. And maybe kicking out your TV set so you don't get distracted and you don't lose time over stupid shit. And you can finally invest time in something that makes sense. Hey, you want to create revenue here, right? You want to create an income. You want to start a family. You want to earn your accolades. You want to become famous. All that doesn't happen overnight. Overnight success happens 10 years in the making. You have to put in some work, and that is the talent. It's just the need to realize, okay, I need to do this. It's the necessity that drives me here. And my stubbornness will help me to kind of put my blinders on, to march to no one else's speed, just move accordingly to my rhythm and walk down my path and my path only. And yes, I'm gonna take in some advice. And yes, I'm gonna take in some mentorship. And yes, I'm gonna acknowledge that there is somebody out there who's better than me right now, but maybe one day I will catch up. And maybe I will even surpass my masters. But till that day, I will enjoy their knowledge, their wisdom that they did for me. They will show me some shortcuts that otherwise I would, need to walk down very winding and wearing roads. I mean, why should I do that? Go in with an open mind about what your talent is, because it's not something supernatural. It's just the stubbornness of your mind that directs you towards your success and nothing else. And whenever you feel the urge of telling a story, that's when you should start. Start expressing, and then look at yourself and say, oh, I still need something, right? This isn't completely finished, right? This isn't fully entertaining. It kind of lacks dynamic. It kind of lacks tension. It kind of lacks humor. Whatever it lacks, I'm going to get that in. I'm going to look at the master in this respective field, and I'm going to make sure that I get his expertise in my system as soon as possible, as directly as possible, as truthful and genuine as possible. That is talent. Admitting that there is still something missing, and I will catch up to that no matter what. I believe that I can spread my wings and fly. That's what I believe. There is nothing better that you can do in your life than invest in your talents. Because it means that you're investing in yourself, and it means that you have freedom of choice. First and foremost, that you have the total understanding of your actions. And sometimes, yeah, we do stuff that is irrational, that maybe from the rational standpoint of view doesn't really make sense. But hey, trust in the process. Eventually, sometimes a curve will lead you to the straight way again. Sometimes we need to make that extra mile. No? We need to walk down an extra road in order to get some experience in to help us on the straight way. It doesn't mean that there won't be any small or bigger catastrophes along the way, or that you might walk down into a dead end and then that you have to kind of, pull back and, enter the straight road again, and that you might have to pivot. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that from now on everything will be straight and fantastic. It just means it's yours and yours only. So trust in your talent. Trust in your capability of spreading your wings. And if the instruments aren't right, then change the instruments. Your success is not depending on the instruments, but on your capability of creating that level playing field and trusting in your abilities. And if you don't trust your abilities, usually that's a sign that you have to put in some extra work, that your abilities are completely yours, very fortified, very strong and powerful, and great to watch and great to see and great to perceive. And then you just move on again and move on again until you reach that first point of destination. And from there on, when you start creating some serious revenue, when you have a product or a service that gets catered to people on a continuous and consistent level, from there on, then you can start to think of branching out, of creating more and more kind of disciplines and elements and fields where you can put your talent in and at work. Because in the end, it's not the talent itself. It's the stubbornness that tells you that it needs to be done in this way and in your way only. So believe in that product no matter what. And if you have any further questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Just write me a nice email on my website. It's the CoachMC Studio if you want to collaborate and create something amazing, like a nice artwork, like a nice monologue. If you have a big audition coming up, a self-tape that you want to record, or maybe you want to spice up your show reel with something amazing, I'm your man. Follow our adventures as well on Instagram. It's the CoachMC, and also on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We're present pretty much everywhere, and also on TikTok with our TikTok tactics on acting, or our tactics on acting on TikTok. No matter what, thanks so much for listening, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. Ring the bell so you get notified every time we grind out a new video. And if you like the video, leave a like. See you next time. Now, you're ready to perform.